Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Health Talk. I'm your host, Dr. Niru Prasad, with my background in pediatrics and emergency medicine, affiliated with Henry Ford Health System, St. Joe, Oakland, and Beaumont. The theme of our health talk today is role of artificial intelligence in medical science. Joining us today as my guest speaker is Ishani Modi, and she is a senior student at Cranbrook Institution. She's going to talk to us about what is artificial intelligence, what are its role in our medicine. Good morning, Ishani, and welcome to my show.
Good morning. Thank you for
I'm very happy
me.
to have you here today. Before we get started, can you give your introduction to our viewers?
Sure. So, my name is Ishani Modi. I'm going to be a senior in the fall at Cranbrook. I'm interested in biology and medical sciences, and this summer I did a research project at Wayne State University looking at male infertility, and my project actually did use a lot of AI and coding. So I'm really excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, that is very good, with the biology major, you can add so much, and you can go to whichever field you want to go to. So now, you know what, you have done such a wonderful job. I read your CV and all that. You are a GPA 4 student, and, you have an excellent review. And this one, artificial intelligence, this is so much in, every time we talk about this artificial intelligence, what it is. So now you will highlight our viewers about this, about the artificial intelligence. So first of all, why AI important is so good. So that is the first question to you is, what is artificial intelligence?
So, artificial intelligence, or AI, is the ability of a computer or robot to perform tasks that are commonly associated with human intelligence. So, the term is often used in reference to systems that display the intellectual characteristics of a human. So, this could be the ability to learn from past experiences, or to find reason, or to find meaning and patterns in data. So the idea of AI actually isn't new. Scientists knew from the very first development of a digital computer in the 1940s that computers could be used to solve complex tasks like finding proofs for theories or playing chess. And in the past 2 decades, it's come to fruition. AI has become more sophisticated with faster processing speeds and better memory capacity. However, there are no programs yet that can fully mimic the human mind and its ability to cover a wide domain of knowledge and topics. Regardless, though, AI has made its way into our daily lives. For example, chatbots have become increasingly popular.
I read about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, ChatGPT has made its way into the news a lot in the past year, and it's just an example of how AI can be used to handle a wide range of information. So people have begun to use ChatGPT as an information source, and I think it really shows the power of AI.
So this is very good, before in our era, we didn't have computer and all this. We just trust our mind. But now this whole thing, AI has taken up our intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to store the memories, right, in our brain. So my next question will be, how does it help in doctor's office appointment?
So AI, one of the components is voice recognition. So we've seen this in systems like Apple Siri or Amazon's Alexa. A user will give a command, and AI will carry through, whether that be making a phone call or looking up information.
Okay.
So how can that help doctors?
Yeah, that's the question
Yeah.
because we are physicians and we take care of the patients. We want to know, like many times we forget which in appointment who has got what. So overall, the command from AI that helps with the computer, right? With the command we can help with the AI, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the way it can help is that right now primary care physicians, when they have an appointment, they are taking notes on their laptop. They're
Right.
typing away. And this can distract them from their patient. They might be devoting less attention because they're busy taking notes. And these notes are important for a patient's electronic records so that the doctor can know about their medical history, their medical status. Additionally, what's important here is that about 40 to 60% of physicians are reporting feelings of burnt out. And
Right.
on top of that, we're also facing a physician shortage in the United States.
Yeah.
And this is because of the myriad of responsibilities physicians face. They have a huge amount of responsibilities and a lot to do. So recently, the idea of using AI in doctors' appointments has become popular. What has gained traction is doctors using AI to actually take these notes for them. So they're using voice recognition technology to listen to what the patients are saying, and AI will take the notes. So this frees up a clinician's mind as well as their hands, allowing them to devote more time and attention to their patient. And AI can automatically update these notes to a patient's electronic records, which means clinicians can cut back on their downtime after appointments, and even hospital administrators or clinical administrators can cut back on time they're spending updating things. So Microsoft recently developed an app called DAX Express. And what this app does is that it uses voice recognition technology to make the notes. But what's really special about this app is that it has a filtering system. So it's only taking in information about the patient's medical history or their medical status. If the patient has any sort of small talk with the doctor or they're talking about other personal matters, none of that is recorded.
So that is filtered.
It's filtered.
That's got filtered.
Yeah, so I think that's really impressive of this app. And anything the app misses can easily be added back in by the clinician. This platform has been tested in simulated doctor's appointments, and patients have actually reported feeling more comfortable and at ease. They say that they feel more comfortable, and it's actually refreshing to talk to a physician that is looking at them and interacting with them rather than a physician who's typing at their computer. So I think that DAX Express suggests that the incorporation of AI into doctor's appointments could actually benefit both clinicians and patients.
As well as. So this is very good, because it took me a long time to go through the EMR electronic chart and go through when I see the patient. And this one is even better because this way, voice recognition and then a direct contact with the patient,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So those are the importance. Yeah. Every day, Ishani, I hear CNN, AI is helping with this, with the diagnosis, of the cancer and all those. So apparently there is a lot of significance of the artificial intelligence in the modern world, right? Whether it is for physician, I'm sure it should be in other areas also,
Yes.
like law or business and others. Yeah, so that's very good. So now the question is, how can it help in the clinical trial, or what is its role in the drug development? Because that is very important. So many drugs are being used now. There is so much scientific research going on with the drugs, trials and all that. So can you please explain our viewers about that part?
Sure. So I'll start off by talking about clinical trials.
Right.
So clinical trials are a key step in the development of new therapies and treatment options.
Okay.
And they allow scientists to test the safety and efficacy of a product or method. However, given the amount of testing that is necessary to ensure quality, clinical trials require a lot of time,
Yeah.
a lot of funding, and a lot of resources. And
Right.
these factors can get in the way of people receiving new treatment options. So this is where AI can come in.
Right.
AI can help the clinical trial process by performing many of the tasks that humans would typically need to perform. So, for example, AI can be used to analyze patient data and identify patterns that would have taken humans much longer, or it wouldn't have even been
Right.
possible by hand. AI can also be used to monitor patients. So there have been situations where AI is being used to track progress in research and identify any potential side effects. But where I think AI plays the biggest role in clinical trials is through predictive modeling. And what that means is predictive modeling involves using AI to analyze data and predict possible outcomes.
Okay.
For example, AI can be used to predict which patients will be most responsive to a new drug or a new treatment option.
Okay.
AI can also be used to figure out any potential side effects before a treatment option is actually
Before the drug
administered.
trials, right? Okay.
So, predictive modeling basically allows researchers to test out a treatment without wasting any time, money, or resources. So, they're
Okay.
saving on all three. But secondly, this predictive modeling can actually help researchers and companies pick out the best participants for a certain treatment. So they can figure out which patients will react best to.
Which treatment? Right.
Also, if any side effects are known previously because they've been predicted by AI, they can also be communicated to clinical trial participants beforehand. And that knowing what the side effects are before a person goes into a clinical trial has actually been proven to help with retention rates. So you'll see less participants backing out of a clinical trial because they know exactly what they are going into.
So, Ishani, in other words, before they start the clinical trial, first of all, they will find out the criteria of which patient can go into that, right?
Yes.
And that criteria will depend upon what it is for, what is the diagnosis and what is the treatment outcome, and then they do this clinical trial.
Yes.
So I know during the summer you worked at the Wayne State University lab. So what was your experience and what did you do?
So, yes, this summer I conducted research at Wayne State University
Okay.
in the C.S. Mott Center for Human Growth and Development.
Oh, that is a very good
Yeah.
topic, human growth and development.
So, I was looking at male infertility and how phthalate exposure can affect that. So, I'll go into more detail about that in a bit. But I'll start off by talking about infertility.
Yeah.
So, infertility is a disease of the male or female reproductive system.
Yeah.
And it's defined by the inability to achieve a pregnancy after 12 months or more of regular unprotected sexual intercourse. And that definition comes from the World Health Organization. But looking at male infertility in specific, there are 4 main causes. 1 is low sperm production.
Yes, yeah.
2 is abnormal sperm function or blockages that can prevent delivery. 3 is illness and injury. And 4 is lifestyle and environmental factors.
Okay.
So
That is very important. Lifetime and environment, yeah.
So my research was looking at that 4th cause, environmental factors.
Okay.
In the past couple of years, scientists have begun looking at how environmental factors like pollutants can actually change the way your genes are expressed. So that's known as epigenetics, how the environment is influencing your gene expression. And through epigenetics, your gene sequence doesn't change, but whether your genes are being turned on or off does change. And what we are starting to see is that these changes can actually affect the way your cells age. So what that means is that everyone has a chronological age, so that's just how many years it's been since your birth date.
Right, yeah.
But your epigenetic age is how fast each cell in your body is aging. So it can be slower than your chronological age or faster than your chronological age. Your cells don't have to age at the same rate. So what we're seeing is that that your sperm, or a man's sperm, can actually age at different rates. And that's called sperm epigenetic age, or C. This shift in age of sperm can actually be caused by environmental exposures. So I'm getting to my project.
Yeah. I have read all those, but I just could not correlate the whole thing because you did the, yes. So how that does the environment toxicity, they call it. Yeah, okay.
So what I was looking at were phthalates. And phthalates are compounds that are used in plastics to make them more durable. They're also found in cosmetic products to serve as solvents and stabilizers. So they're used everywhere, and people are always being exposed to phthalates.
Okay.
But what the issue with phthalates is that exposure can actually be really harmful to the body. So we're seeing that exposure during pregnancy can lead to can impair neurodevelopmental outcomes. We're also seeing that exposure can lead to attention and brain development disorders.
Yeah.
But we're also seeing that phthalates can affect the male reproductive system. So my research was putting all this together. It was looking at how phthalate exposure is affecting sperm epigenetic age, and whether phthalate exposure is increasing sperm epigenetic age or decreasing it. And in turn, we're looking at how phthalate exposure is affecting male infertility as a whole. So my project was heavily used AI. And the first place I used AI was to actually calculate the sperm epigenetic age. Because that's not a number we can ask a patient, what is your epigenetic age? They don't know.
Right.
So how I calculated that was...
You collect the sperms from the sperm pool, right?
Yes, from IVF clinics.
Yeah, okay.
So what I used was an algorithm called SuperLearner, and this algorithm utilizes AI.
Okay.
The algorithm was given two variables, a person's age, their chronological age,
okay,
as well as their phthalate exposure. That was calculated by the CDC. And it took these two variables and was able to give me a sperm epigenetic age. And such a calculation would not have been possible without AI. It would have been complex. It would have taken a lot of time, and if a human were to do it, there was definitely a risk of error. So what AI has shown here is that it allows humans to do research at more depths, and it allows us to make more conclusions. Now, I also used code to check my two variables, sperm epigenetic age and phthalate exposure, and how they're correlated, so how they fluctuate in relation to each other. And what I found was that there's a correlation between the phthalates that are found in plastics.
Okay.
And
the metal? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I read one of those. I think you had it in your... So between plastic and metal, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the phthalates that are found in plastic are actually heavier, and they're showing a tendency to increase sperm epigenetic age.
Okay.
So that's a possible link between phthalate exposure and male infertility.
Okay.
Outside of that, my code also found a correlation between smoking and sperm epigenetic age.
I was going to ask you that question because I know smoking, leads to that.
Yeah. So, again, what we're seeing here is that these correlations wouldn't have been possible without AI. We wouldn't have been able to find any of this data or analyze any of this data without AI. Lastly, I used AI to check for association. And what I found was that as phthalate exposure increases to a certain point, to 60% concentration, sperm epigenetic age actually increases with it. So there's
that is very interesting to know, right? Mm-hmm. Well, concentration. Yeah.
So we're seeing that environmental exposures can impact infertility. But none of these conclusions could have been reached without the use of AI. So I really think that in the future, more research projects will be using AI to do a lot of analysis, to do a lot of predictive modeling, to see what really is the power of AI and how can it help us
Helps you
make
better.
new discoveries.
So in other words, for our viewers to know, AI plays a significant role in finding what are the causes of male infertility, sperm-wise. What makes the sperms better, and the environment has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
So that's very good experiment you have done. Yeah. So that now it has a role in the drug development.
Yes.
We talked about that and infertility, and so what are the security concerns?
So before I go there, I think we can talk a little bit more about drug development.
Sure.
So similar to clinical trials, AI can also be used in the development of pharmaceutical drugs.
Okay.
Today, on average, it actually takes around 10 years to develop a drug. So that's from conception to full FDA approval. And this process is lengthy. It requires animal models, multiple clinical trial phases, and the lengthy process of actually getting approved. On top of all that time, it can take billions of dollars in funding to actually fully create a drug. A lot of time, the money and time is spent on a trial and error approach. So scientists will try one thing, see if it works.
It could be an error, right? Yeah.
That's why the process takes so long. And that's why the process takes so many resources and so much money. But I think this is where AI can come in. We talked about predictive modeling.
Right.
So you can use AI to predict how a certain drug will act within the human body and whether it will actually fix the intended problem. So scientists can do all of their trial and error with an AI model rather than with a human or with an animal model, allowing them to use less resources and less money. And there are two benefits here on top of that. One is that animal testing could be greatly reduced, since algorithms and AI models could completely replace them by playing out scenarios and how a drug would act. Secondly, AI could reduce the amount of resources being used for each trial and error iteration. So in June of 2023, the first AI-generated drug, fully AI-generated drug, entered a clinical trial with human patients for the first time. The company behind the drug is In Silico Medicine, which is based out of Hong Kong, and the drug aims to treat a lung disease.
Yeah, I read it when I was doing the research. It was in Hong Kong, one of the journal in Hong Kong. They came up with this.
Yeah. So the lung disease.
For the lung disease. Yeah.
So the lung disease they're looking at is one that causes scarring in the lung tissue, and once the lung tissue scars, it makes it difficult for oxygen to move from the lungs and into the bloodstream,
Right.
which makes it difficult for oxygen to reach cells and organs. This drug isn't the first to be developed with AI, but it is the first to be approved for clinical trials in humans, which is a major milestone.
Has FDA approved that drug for here in United States?
Yes, so
They have.
they approved it for clinical
Clinical trials.
but not for use. So it's past one obstacle.
Right, yeah.
I think that in the future, AI could be used to develop drugs for diseases that are less common and under-researched. Many of these diseases currently have no treatment option because they're not being studied, because they're harder to study. But with AI decreasing the amount of time and money it takes to make a drug, there's possibilities to develop a game-changing drug at a bigger scale and a faster pace.
Yeah, so that is very good, and later on also it will help with the vaccines development. Yeah, there's a lot of new vaccines trials and going on with the. I mean, they have so many vaccines. Remember when there was a COVID era? So much vaccine. But I think with the artificial intelligence, that will make things simple, easy for for the clinician, right?
Yeah, actually, this same company in Silico, they are working on a COVID-19 vaccine being developed with
COVID-19
AI.
vaccine. Yeah. So that's very good. Every day I hear something on the CNN, and the last one I think couple of days ago, how it helps with the diagnosis of esophageal cancer,
Okay.
which is another thing going on. So that is very good. And then lastly, how about the security concerns?
Yeah. So in healthcare, AI is dependent on gathering and analyzing large amounts of data. And this data is all personal to patients. It's about their health and their medical history. So the concern is the regulation that will protect this data and who will be responsible for protecting this data.
Right.
So we talked about AI automatically updating a patient's records. However, if the data is poorly protected in the process, there are chances that a person's private information can be breached.
Okay. So it protects them. It kind of filters, not anything. So that is very good. I am so happy you came today, talked about the artificial. This was a new field for me, Then I read and I knew how important it is in medical science. So give us last 1 minute keynote, what you want the listeners to know about this whole thing.
So AI has the power to revolutionize the whole industry. It can help in diagnosis. It can help in, annual checkups. It can help in scientific research and clinical research. The concerns over privacy are valid. However, the world is starting to address them. The World Health Organization recently...
Right, World Health Organization takes over,
Yeah, they recently announced the 6 core principles to outline the ethics and governance of AI.
Yeah.
And I think once regulation and the ethics are fully outlined, AI has the power to really revolutionize the field.
So good. So I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank our guest speaker, Ishani, a Cranbrook student, to come and talk to us about her researches, what she did with artificial intelligence. I'd like to thank our viewers for watching our show. Thank the producer for helping me produce this wonderful video. And until I see all of you, have a wonderful, safe end of the summer and beginning fall. Thank you again.
Thank you.